Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, we're taking an early look at another one of the move updates from the Season 21 balance patch, and that is the double buff being given to Starmie. Now, Starmie, previously outside of the occasional one-shot of Gyarados and Master Premier, had no meta play whatsoever, but now it gets access to Psywave as a fast move and Surf as a charge move. So it gets one of the best fast moves in the game, and it finally gets a bait move. And this combination catapults Starmie from a pretty irrelevant Pokemon to a Pokemon that sees serious Great League play. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and take a look at Psywave and Surf Starmie in the Open Great League. Hopping into the first match, picking up a decent lead Charge Bug into the Jump Bluff. Opponent safe switches Miltank, and I'm going to counter switch with my Shadow Marowak. Now, Miltank can learn Ice Beam, but a lot of the time they are running Thunderbolt specifically to try and target water types. And judging by the fact that they're throwing quite a few body slams at me, it looks like they do not have the Ice Beam, which is very good news for me. Marowak is of course going to win the CMP tie over Miltank, denying that energy unless they decide to give up a shield, and they're not going to do so. They're just going to let Miltank go. In comes Jump Bluff. I'm going to try and make it to a Rock Slide, but the opponent is not going to let that happen. They'll go for the Aerial Ace instantly to deliver a knockout, and now I can bring back in Charjabug, and I still do have that Starmie lurking in the back. Charjabug firing off the X-Scissor. X-Scissor is going to land. This is the non-Shadow Jump Bluff, which means that X-Scissor is not going to do a ton of damage here. Opponent returning fire with Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace not going to do much damage either. And I am very close to the back-to-back X-Scissors. So the Aerial Ace is going to land, getting me now into the red health. But with back-to-back X-Scissors, I should be able to deliver a knockout. X-Scissor number 1 is going to land, going for X-Scissor number 2. And now my opponent has a choice. Do they want to preserve the Jump Bluff? They say yes. They fire off energy, and I'm saving both shields for Starmie. Let's see what Starmie can do. Starmie hits the field, Psywaves adding up, Jump Bluff is going to make an Aerial Ace, and I will use my first shield since I still don't know what they have in the back, and in the back it is Bibarel, and being up energy, Starmie is about to absolutely dominate in this endgame. Bibarel is going to be firing off a Hyper Fang, Starmie at 100 energy, making it to the back-to-back Power Gems. Now, Starmie, you do have a wide variety of potential nuke moves you can use. I opted for Power Gem as I felt like Power Gem was very nice coverage overall, pairing with the Psychic and the Water moves elsewhere. Now, Starmie, after KOing Bibarel, gets the farm down the Jump Bluff and take the win. We move to the next match, Charjabug into Primeape, opponent safe switches into Clodsire, and I have an amazing response available with the Shadow Marowak. Now, if I did see a Clodsire lead, I would actually be safe switching to Starmie. The plan with the team is basically to try and lure out the grass type with the Starmie, if there is one, and that way, the Marowak is going to do quite well in the endgame. Opponent is going to get fully farmed down after the Bone Club lands, and I do exit with a ton of energy to threaten them. They're going to send back in the Primeape. I'm expecting that they could very well be weak to the Marowak in the back, so after grabbing a shield, I'm going to switch, and I'm sending in Starmie, and look at the Psywaves go. Primeape getting absolutely deleted. Primeape has lightning fast energy generation already at the back-to-back Rage Fists, so I will commit the second shield. It's going to be close. Can they get there, or will Starmie get the farm down? Starmie gets the farm down. In the back is Gastrodon, and this game is absolutely over. I have back-to-back Surfs already. Surf does big damage to the Gastrodon. Before they can make it to the Body Slam, I'm firing off Surf number 2. This Surf is going to connect. Opponent realizing I still have 3 Pokemon, there's no way to win the game, so they will resign. Tough lead in the next match, leading Charjabug into Dunsparce. I save switch into Starmie, and the opponent chooses to stay in. Now, this is not a winning matchup for the Starmie, but if they decide to stay, then I can get them pretty low. They send in low kicks. Do they know about the Power Gem? They do not. That's a full one-shot. Oh no, my opponent did not know about the Power Gem, and that cost them everything. In comes the Dunsparce. There was a little bit of lag there, so I wasn't quite sure if I was supposed to get the Surf or if I was just supposed to get knocked out by the rollout there. But either way, flipping switch, we should be in a pretty good situation. Oh my goodness. That Power Gem, the full one-hit KO, absolutely beautiful. In the back, speaking of things that are beautiful, there's a Mandibuzz, and if you have an electric type and you see a Mandibuzz, you're probably in a winning position. Mandibuzz is going to connect with the Dark Pulse. I'm farming up, always trying to throw 2 in the move with the Charge Charjabug, as that is going to be good timing. Now, Mandibuzz is very, very fast when it comes to getting to its charge moves, so there may be some occasions where I do have to throw on not the greatest timing ever just to try and get some pressure on my opponent. Like here, they are able to outpace, which is very uncomfortable. Switch clock is now up. I have to watch for a switch out. I wait. There's the switch out into the Dunsparce, and now I can unleash devastation with Marowak. Bone Club is going to connect, picking up the KO. Mandibuzz is now going to be met with a Rock Slide. And whether it's a Rock Slide or a Discharge, this Mandibuzz is getting knocked out of the sky. They shield the Rock Slide, getting the farm down, but Charjabug gets to deny that energy with the banked Discharge. Discharge KOs the Mandibuzz, and that's a good game. Hopping into the next match, Charjabug into another Mandibuzz. We're off to a great start. The opponent is staying in this matchup. That is very interesting. If they're staying in, that means they do not have a good response available in the back. Mandibuzz is going to connect with the Dark Pulse. That does some pretty significant damage. There, I do opt for 1 in the move. It's not the greatest timing, but I want to guaranteed damage on this Mandibuzz. Opponent is going to be firing off another Dark Pulse. While this will get the Charjabug low, it will not be enough for me to get knocked out. I'm going to farm up to the back-to-back X-Scissors, so I do exit this matchup with some energy, and let's see what my opponent decides to send in. In comes Clodsire. I pivot into the Starmie. Opponent now going to send in a rollout Bibarel, and at this point, this game is just over. The Starmie pivot with Psywave and Surf threatens Clodsire enough that they switch out, and now that Clodsire has a date with my Shadow Marowak in the back, so this game is very over. Power Gem is going to be shielded by my opponent. Now I'm just going to fire off a Surf. Honestly, a Surf will still come pretty close to knocking out here. They're actually going to double shield, and they are going to fire off their energy. I decided to let this go because I do have an X-Scissor loaded. Here, what I should do is just bring in the Charjabug and then blind switch the Marowak because they're obviously going to catch. But the good news for me is that Marowak into Clodsire is such a dominant matchup that it's not going to matter, and I'm up a shield as well. So this is just a completely one endgame. Clodsire is going to fire off the Earthquake. It does do quite a bit of damage, but the Marowak is at full health. So I can now farm up to 1 short of the back-to-back. Bone Club into the Clodsire will pick up the KO, and Bibarel is going to get knocked out with the Bone Club. So a new season, same old Shadow Marowak, absolutely taking lives, but the Starmie pivot is honestly doing wonders. We lead into Dunsparce in the next match, save switch into the Starmie, and the opponent is going to stay in here and fire off their energy. Again, this is very fine by me. My goal is basically just to try and neutralize, get the Dunsparce as low as I possibly can. So I will be farming up, firing off the Surf. Surf is going to be no-shielded by the Dunsparce, and Dunsparce is going to be returning fire with another Drill Run. I am going to use a shield because if possible, I would love to win switch advantage. I'm farming up as much as I can. I'm very close to the back-to-back Surfs, but I don't quite have it. Surf is going to be shielded. Opponent not going to risk me making another move. They're just going to throw instantly. I don't want to reveal my whole line just yet, so I'm going to bring in Charjabug, and Charjabug is going to get the Volt Switch farm down. It's Unova Stunfisk. I'm going to send in Marowak in the back. It is Jumpluff, and this unfortunately just looks over. The goal of the Starmie save switch is to try and lure out a grass type like Jumpluff, but my opponent showed great restraint. They held onto that grass type for the end game, and now I'm in a very tough position. Energy Ball is going to be shielded. I do use my final shield here because I'm trying to get shields down. The only hope that I have, I can't save the Marowak, is that I can get to enough X-Scissors on Charjabug to KO Unova Stunfisk. Energy Ball will pick up the knockout. I'm going to send back in the Charjabug, over-farming as much as I dare, and firing off the X-Scissor. X-Scissor will secure the knockout. Back in comes Unova Stunfisk, and Stunfisk is going to be spamming out Mud Bombs. How much does Mud Bomb do? It looks like I can survive another Mud Bomb, so this is actually going to get very, very close. I'm at back-to-back X-Scissors. It looks like the X-Scissor does pretty close to a third of their remaining HP. Can I actually pull off this win? Mud Bomb connects. I survive. I make the double X-Scissor. This has to KO. Come on, Charjabug. X-Scissor gets them low. It's a charge attack priority tie, and it all comes down to this. X-Scissor does not KO. Unova Stunfisk takes it on low health, knocks out the Charjabug, and we lose a heartbreaking game. We move to the next match. Charjabug into Chestnut. Opponent save switches into Drapion. And even though I have an amazing response to Drapion and Marowak, I am staying in. Now that might seem like a bit of a questionable play, but considering the team composition, The fact that they have such an incredibly hard counter to Mud Slappers on the lead and they're safe switching a Drapion makes me think it's a bait out, and their third is actually going to be weak to Marowak. Here, I am going to get a farm down. The game looked very stuttery there, but we are able to get the farm down, and I'm just leaving with a bunch of X-Scissors for that Chestnut. I'm just trusting in the fact that based on the team comp read, they should have something weak to Mud Slap in the back, and Marowak can absolutely feast. I'm going to fire off the X-Scissor. X-Scissor is going to get them very low. Opponent is actually going to be hit with another X-Scissor. A miscount from the opponent. Charjabug was on its 2 cycle, able to force a shield. Opponent switches out in the back. There it is. It's Shadow Electivire. And I'm so happy I have the Marowak. Shadow Electivire goes for the Ice Punch. That almost one-shots. Oh my goodness. What is that Pokemon? That is absolutely unreal damage. Man, now I have to... I guess now I have to try Shadow Electivire at some point. That damage was ridiculous. Speaking of ridiculous, Charjabug and a Clodsire, terrible lead. The safe switch into Starmie. Opponent responds with a Shadow Raticate, and we could not be more hard countered if we tried. Surf does not KO the Shadow Raticate here, but my opponent actually commits a shield, and that's massive. That is absolutely huge. They're going to go for the crunch and pick up the KO, but that's just, I guess... Early days of the season, my opponent not having a familiarity with the moveset of Starmie, they give up a shield, and getting a shield advantage is honestly amazing for me. They're going to fire off energy. If they survive this Volt Switch, I'm going to look to snipe with the Shadow Marowak, because not only do I want a shield advantage, but I want an energy advantage as well versus whatever they have in back. Because I'm guessing it's not going to be weak to Mud Slap, and it's Malamar, and this is such a playable game. Malamar is going to be firing off a foul play. I have to shield everything as the Marowak, and look to farm up as much as I can. I am farmed up past 2 Bone Clubs here, firing off the first, looking to put some pressure on my opponent. My opponent is going to commit the shield. They fire off energy, and I'm going to be double shielding here. If they superpower, which they do, I can farm down unless they switch out. They try to get to the move. They don't get there. I get the farm down, and now this poor Clodsire is going to get absolutely destroyed. Bone Club after Bone Club connecting, and this is just game over. Opponent barely survives. They make the last second move there, getting the damage registration error, but it's not going to matter. Sludge Bomb KOs, but I still have Charjabug, which is pretty close to an X-Scissor. So despite a disastrous lead, the opponent gave up a shield in a mid-game where they did not have to, and that actually ends up costing them in a big way. Bit of a tricky lead in the next match, Charjabug versus Shadow Alolan Sandslash. Now, they are Powder Snow, so I could potentially send in Starmie, and maybe that's the better play, is just to send in Starmie right away. My initial thought process was I wanted to get some chip damage and then send in Starmie, but either way, I'm going to be shielding, and I think preserving the Charjabug is probably worthwhile, so I am going to commit the shield. They're going to fire off the Drill Run and then look to switch out, and in comes Azumarill, so I'm very happy to bait this out. Azumarill farming up a ton of energy, and so is Starmie. Starmie very close to 100 energy, going for the Power Gem. Power Gem is going to connect, and that does some very nice damage. That's a non-same type attack bonus Power Gem. Play Rough is going to land, getting Starmie very low. Starmie farming up to the back-to-back Surfs. If this KOs, I can exit with a Surf loaded, and that would be huge. But that's a bit too much to ask. Azumarill is very bulky, and it barely hangs on, so I don't get that second move. Opponent in the back has Hypno, and this is actually bad for me because Hypno, of course, has access to Ice Punch, which now does extra damage. Even though this is the non-Shadow Hypno, Ice Punch is now a pretty formidable attack. Ice Punch is going to connect. That does big damage to the Marowak, and Marowak is going to look to return fire with the Bone Club. But Hypno, it is an OG. It has some significant bulk, able to withstand the damage. In comes the Sandslash. I try and get the farm down as it's my only win con, but I'm not able to get it. In comes the Hypno. Hypno farms down the Charjabug, and we do lose the match. Hopping into the final match, picking up an okay lead Charjabug into Talonflame. This is not ideal. Typically, Talonflame does emerge victorious in everything but the zeros. But, I mean, this way it doesn't see the Marowak, so that's okay. But they have Flame Charge, which is not okay, because since they have Flame Charge, I think that I actually don't get this next Discharge. I'm going to try for it, and I don't get it. A major miscalculation. I thought that I would get that for sure, so that's why I stayed in. Otherwise, I should have just switched out. I'm going to bring in Starmie. They Flame Charge again, just boosting up their damage. I do get the farm down, But now I don't have any more shields for Starmie. In the back is Registeel. I'm farming up a ton of energy to 100 and switch out into the Marowak. Opponent is going to fire off a Focus Blast. Focus Blast is going to connect, doing some pretty substantial damage. They're going to switch out. In the back is a regular Machamp. And again, these are early days in the season, so we're going to see some pretty interesting teams. Regular Machamp was definitely not on my bingo card. Machamp close to the Stone Edge, but they don't have it. They get sniped with the Starmie. The worst they could have gotten there was a Cross Chop, and a Cross Chop does not KO. And now Starmie just has way too much energy, and at this point, the opponent just gives up. They start tapping, but Starmie just has the pacing advantage there. Having 100 energy banked, I could have made 3 Surfs before they make a move, so this game is just over. And now I get to fire off Surf number 1 and Surf number 2, and we're able to take the win. And here, it looks like the opponent just did not want to keep playing, unfortunately, so they do eventually let the move land, but it looks like they did close their app. Final thoughts on Starmie. Honestly, considering that it was ranked like 800 something in the Open Great League before this season, the fact that it's climbed as much as it has is honestly remarkable, but I guess it shows the power of Psywave. Like, Psywave is an unbelievable fast move. We saw it do something very similar for Malamar, where Malamar was grabbed out of complete obscurity. No one had ever played it really outside of limited metas, and now it's just top Open Great League meta. Starmie isn't quite to that extent, just due to the fact that Starmie doesn't quite have the stats, but Starmie is very strong Open Great League anti-meta, and that combination of Psywave and Surf is just incredible. Also, Starmie having multiple viable nuke moves I think is pretty cool as well. I went with Power Gem, which I think is probably going to be more the standard, but if you want a move to absolutely shred grass types, there's Ice Beam, there's also Thunder as well, which some of you guys may know from my Master Premier videos with Starmie. But yeah, overall, Starmie is dramatically improved. Again, going from rank 800 something to I believe it's now rank 135 is an incredible improvement, because rank 800, we're talking, that's like Inteleon levels of bad, whereas now it's in a pretty similar elo range as some pretty solid Pokemon like Tropius, Oranguru, and Lokix. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support guys provide is sincerely appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.